September 11th, 2001. A morning that began like any other. In New York City, the sun rose over Manhattan, casting a warm, golden light on the iconic skyline. The twin towers of the World Trade Center stood tall and proud, symbols of ambition and a bustling metropolis waking up to a new day. 4 millions. It was just another Tuesday. People rushed to work. Children headed to school, and the city hummed with its usual vibrant energy. No one could have known that in just a few short hours, the world as they knew it would be altered forever. At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11, a Boeing 767 en route from Boston to Los Angeles, struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center. The impact was catastrophic. Smoke began to pour from the upper floors, a stark, dark plume against the clear blue sky. On the streets below, confusion turned to horror. Was it an accident? A terrible, unforeseen tragedy. People looked up, their faces a mixture of disbelief and fear. Emergency services raced towards the scene, sirens wailing, their courageous crews preparing to face the unimaginable. Just 17 minutes later, at 9:03 a.m., the second plane, United Airlines flight, slammed into the South Tower. That single, horrific moment shattered any hope that this was an accident. This was a deliberate attack. The world watched, live on television, as the second tower erupted in a ball of fire and smoke. The feeling of safety that so many took for granted was instantly gone, replaced by a profound sense of vulnerability. It was clear this was a coordinated act of terror, unfolding on the global stage. But the horror wasn't confined to New York. At 9:37 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, the very heart of the nation's military command. The building, a symbol of American strength, was breached and burning. A portion of the structure collapsed, and the nation grappled with the terrifying reality that even its most secure locations were under assault. The attacks were strategic, widespread, and designed to inflict maximum fear and chaos. Meanwhile, a fourth plane, United Airlines Flight 93, had been hijacked. The passengers and crew, having learned about the attacks in New York and Washington through phone calls, made a heroic decision. They chose to fight back. Their brave struggle culminated in the plane crashing into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, at 10:03 a.m. They sacrificed their own lives to prevent the hijackers from reaching their intended target. Believed to be another significant landmark in Washington, D.C., these ordinary people became extraordinary heroes. Their actions a testament to courage in the face of pure evil. Today, we remember the 2,977 innocent lives lost. We honor the first responders who ran into danger without hesitation, many of whom made the ultimate sacrifice. We remember the resilience of a nation that came together in its darkest hour, and the spirit of unity that emerged from the rubble. The skyline has changed, but the memory of that day and the people we lost will never fade. We remember, so we never forget. Thank you for watching. We thought it was just another Tuesday, another day staring at spreadsheets, sipping lukewarm coffee, and counting down the hours until 5 o'clock. Outside, the city hummed its familiar tune, a symphony of traffic and distant sirens. Inside our glass tower, we were safe, insulated from the chaos, or so we thought. I was in the middle of a conference call, arguing about something pointless like budget allocations for the next quarter. Sarah, from accounting, was complaining about the new printer. Mark was telling a bad joke by the water cooler. It was aggressively, beautifully normal. Then, the world tilted. It wasn't a sound at first, more of a feeling. A deep, gut-wrenching lurch that came up through the soles of our shoes and vibrated in our bones. The floor beneath us bucked like a living thing. My coffee mug flew off my desk, shattering against the wall in a brown explosion. The conference call went dead. Across the Opoplan office, 100 heads snapped up, eyes wide with a shared, unspoken question. Earthquake? Before anyone could answer, the sound hit us. A deafening, concussive boom that wasn't just heard, but felt in our chests. It was a physical blow. The lights overhead flickered violently, then died, plunging us into a terrifying semi-darkness, illuminated only by the emergency strobes that started to flash. The massive windows that lined the office bulged inward for a split second, then held, but the sound of something colossal impacting the building was unmistakable. Chaos erupted. Papers that were neatly stacked moments before became a blizzard, swirling in the air like panicked ghosts. People who had been frozen in shock were now screaming, a primal, raw sound of pure terror. The building's alarm system joined the chorus, a high-pitched, incessant shriek that drilled into our skulls. I scrambled under my desk, heart hammering against my ribs so hard I thought it would break. Through the strobing flashes, I saw faces I'd known for years, now contorted into masks of disbelief and horror. Another tremor ran through the structure, this time a grinding, sickening groan of stressed steel and concrete. Dust and debris rained down from the ceiling tiles, coating everything in a fine, gray powder. The first sign something was terribly wrong wasn't an alarm, but a smell. A faint, acrid scent, like burnt plastic, slowly creeping through the office ventilation system. At first, we ignored it. Just another weird city smell, maybe construction outside. But then the air started to thicken, getting hazy. A nervous cough started on one side of the room, then another. Someone near the window said, "Hey, does that look like smoke to you?" And that's when the first wave of real unease washed over the floor. It happened fast. The haze turned into a definite, gray smoke, coiling lazily near the ceiling lights. The smell was stronger now, sharp and choking. A flicker of movement in the hallway, then another. People were getting up from their desks, walking towards the doors, their voices low, uncertain murmur. The murmur quickly escalated. Someone shouted, "There's smoke in the hallway." That was the spark. The low hum of office life shattered. Keyboards stopped clacking. Phones were dropped. Mid-call. In a single, unified moment, every person on our floor was on their feet, their faces a mixture of confusion and dawning fear. The fire alarm, deafening and shrill, finally blared to life, a horrifying confirmation of our worst fears. That's when the real panic started. It was a stampede. People surged towards the main hallway, a bottleneck of bodies pushing and shoving. The smoke out there was thick, a dense, blinding fog that stung your eyes and clawed at your throat. You couldn't see more than a few feet in front of you. The bright, sterile office corridors were gone, replaced by a gray, suffocating nightmare. The sound was a cacophony of terror, the relentless scream of the alarm. People yelling names, coughing, and the terrifying, primal sound of pure, unadulterated fear. I remember being swept along with the crowd, my feet barely touching the ground. We were all just trying to get to the stairwell. But which way was it? The emergency lights cast a sickly green glow through the haze, but they only illuminated more smoke. People were running in different directions. A woman tripped and fell, and for a heart-stopping second, the crowd surged over her before a few people managed to pull her up. Someone was yelling, "The north stairwell is blocked." The news spread like a virus, turning the tide of people back on itself, creating a chaotic whirlpool of terrified humanity. Every floor was the same story, a carbon copy of confusion and terror. We could hear the panic from the floors above and below us. Through the stairwell doors, morisoting, the distant sound of something crashing. The smoke was getting thicker, blacker. It was getting harder to breathe. Each gasp was a mouthful of hot, chemical-tasting air that made your lungs burn. People were tearing off parts of their shirts, holding them over their mouths and noses, but it barely helped. You could feel the heat seeping through the walls and the floor. The building itself felt like it was turning against us, becoming a trap. In that chaos, I saw the best and worst of people. I saw a man push an elderly woman aside to get to the stairs faster. But I also saw a young woman stop in the middle of the stampede to help a coworker who was having an asthma attack, guiding him to the wall and trying to shield him. I saw someone trying to smash a window with a chair, a desperate, futile attempt to get fresh air. The feeling of being trapped was absolute. The exits we walked past every single day without a second thought were now a mystery, hidden behind a wall of smoke. All sense of direction was gone. Every corner looked the same. Every hallway was a potential dead end. The thought that kept running through my head, over and over, was this can't be happening. It felt like a movie, a terrible dream I couldn't wake up from. But the burning in my lungs, the screams echoing in the hallways, the sheer crushing weight of the crowd, it was all too real. We were just ordinary people who came to work on a normal day, and now we were fighting for our lives in a smoke-filled maze. The building we knew so well had become an alien landscape, a monster intent on swallowing us whole. All that mattered in those moments was the next breath and the desperate, frantic search for a way out. Thanks for watching. If you ever find yourself in an emergency, remember that having a plan can make all the difference. Knowing your building's evacuation routes is crucial, and if you've been through a traumatic event, please know that it's okay to seek help. Organizations like the National Alliance on Mental Illness are there for you. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video. September 11th, 2001. A day etched into history. A day of immense tragedy. But amidst the chaos and despair, stories of incredible heroism emerged. Stories that shine as beacons of humanity's best. Today, we're going to talk about one of those stories. The story of a man who chose not to run. A man named Rescorla. Imagine the scene. It's just after 8:46 a.m. in New York City. The North Tower of the World Trade Center has just been struck. Panic erupts. People are screaming, running, desperate to escape. Down in the South Tower, on the 44th floor, the Port Authority issues an announcement over the loudspeakers. Stay put. They tell everyone to remain at their desks, assuring them that the building is secure. The incident, they say, is isolated to the other tower. But one man knew better. Rescorla, the director of security for Morgan Stanley, had seen this coming. He was a decorated Vietnam veteran, a man forged in battle, and his instincts were screaming that this was no accident. For years, he had warned his superiors about the vulnerability of the World Trade Center. He'd even predicted that a terrorist attack would likely target the towers from the air after the 1993 bombing. He had drilled his employees relentlessly, forcing them to practice evacuation procedures over and over, much to their annoyance at the time. He timed them with a stopwatch, making them walk down flights of stairs, preparing them for a day he prayed would never come. But it. As soon as the first plane hit, Rescorla ignored the official Port Authority announcement. He grabbed his bullhorn, his voice cutting through the rising tide of fear. An evacuation is mandatory, he declared. He started herding the 2,700 Morgan Stanley employees toward the stairwells. He was methodical, calm, and unshakable. His years of military training and obsessive preparation had prepared him for this exact moment. While others were frozen in fear or confusion, Rescorla was a whirlwind of decisive action. He moved from floor to floor, his presence a calming force. People were scared. Some were crying. But his steady demeanor gave them strength. He knew that panic was the real enemy in a crisis like this. To keep spirits up and maintain an orderly pace, he started to sing. Through his bullhorn, the sound of an old Cornish song echoed in the stairwell. Men of Cornwall, stand ye steady. It cannot be ever said that for the battle we're not ready. It was a song from his youth, a song of resilience. He also sang American patriotic songs, his voice a surprising melody amidst the terrifying sounds of the unfolding disaster. It was surreal, but it worked. It gave people a rhythm to march to, a focus point other than their fear. They followed his voice down the endless flights of stairs. At 9:03 a.m., their worst fears were realized. United Airlines Flight 175 slammed into the South Tower, right between the 77th and 85th floors. The building lurched violently. The lights flickered and died, plunging the stairwells into darkness. Screams filled the air. But de Venten, Rescorla's voice boomed through the bullhorn. Stay calm. Follow me. We're getting out together. He was their shepherd, guiding his flock through the valley of the shadow of death. He was the man who didn't run. He successfully evacuated almost every single one of Morgan Stanley's 2,700 employees from the South Tower. A monumental feat. Once he was sure his people were safe, he spoke to his wife on the phone. Stop crying, he told her. I have to get these people out. If something should happen to me, I want you to know I've never been happier. You made my life. Then, with 3 of his security deputies, Rick Rescorla turned around and went back up. He went back into the burning, groaning tower to search for any stragglers, for anyone left behind. He was last seen on the 10th floor, heading upwards, just before the South Tower collapsed at 9:59 a.m. He never made it out. Rick Rescorla and his 3 deputies were among the 13 Morgan Stanley employees who lost their lives that day. But because of his foresight, his courage, and his unwavering dedication to his people, 2,687 others went home to their families. He was a true hero, a guardian who stood his ground when every instinct screamed to run. His story is a powerful reminder that in the darkest of times, the light of human courage can shine the brightest. Let's never forget the man who sang in the stairwell. Thank you for watching. We're in the stairwell now, and honestly, it's a blur of concrete and metal railings. The air is thick, a nasty mix of smoke and something chemical that stings your eyes and catches in the back of your throat. Every breath feels like swallowing hot ash. People are everywhere, a jumbled mass of panic and confusion. You can hear coughing. Some people are crying. Others are just shouting into the chaos. It's hard to tell which way is up, let alone which way is out. The emergency lights are flickering, casting these long, dancing shadows that make everything feel even more unreal. Like a nightmare you can wake up from. Then, through the haze, I see him. Rick. He's not shouting, not panicking. He's just there. A solid point in all the swirling madness. He's got this look on his face, a kind of intense calm. He moves with a purpose that cuts right through the fear. He's talking to a woman who's frozen, her face streaked with tears and soot. He's not yelling at her to move. He's speaking softly, his voice a steady anchor in the storm of noise. He puts a hand on her shoulder, and it's like a switch flips. She takes a deep breath, nods, and starts moving again. He's like a conductor, orchestrating a symphony of survival. He sees a small group of people trying to shove their way past others, and he steps in front of them. He doesn't get aggressive. He just holds up his hands and says, Hey, one at a time. We'll all get out, but we have to work together. And the crazy thing is, they listen. They actually stop and form a line. He's creating order where there was only chaos, a single file line snaking its way down the endless stairs. He's pointing, guiding. You go. Now you. It's amazing to watch. The smoke is getting worse. A thick, dark blanket rolling down from the floors above. You can feel the heat seeping through the walls. But the panic, the raw, animal fear that was choking everyone just moments ago, it's starting to subside. It's being replaced by something else. A fragile, shared determination. Rick is at the center of it all. He finds a man with a nasty gash on his forehead, blood running down his face. Rick takes off his own shirt without a second thought, rips a piece off, and presses it to the wound. He tells the guy, Keep pressure on that. Stay with me. He moves down the line, a constant presence. He's helping an older gentleman who's struggling to breathe, leaning on him for support. He's encouraging a young kid who's terrified, giving him a quick, reassuring smile. We're almost there, champ. Just a few more floors. He's not just a person anymore. He's become a symbol of hope in this concrete hell. He's the reason people are still moving, the reason they haven't given up. He keeps everyone focused on the next step, and the next, and the one after that. As we descend deeper, floor after floor, the air starts to change. It's still smoky, but there's a hint of something else in it. Fresh air. It's faint, but it's there. A wave of relief washes over the line. You can see it on people's faces. A collective sigh. We're getting closer. Rick doesn't stop. He's still at it, pushing, guiding, making sure no one is left behind. He's covered in soot. His voice is hoarse from the smoke and from talking, but his eyes are still sharp, still focused. He gave us a path, a direction. He showed us that even in the darkest, most terrifying moments, one person can make all the difference. He brought order to the chaos. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more stories like this. Down here, the darkness is so thick you can almost touch it. Every step echoes. Every breath feels loud. The air is cold, heavy, and it smells like damp concrete and old dust. It's the kind of place that swallows sound, swallows light, swallows hope. Your heart pounds in your chest, a frantic drum against your ribs. Is anyone else here? Am I alone? The silence is a weight, pressing down, making it hard to breathe. You strain your ears, listening for anything, any sign of life. But there is nothing but the dripping of water somewhere far below and the rush of your own blood. Fear is a cold snake coiling in your gut. It tells you you're trapped. It whispers that the darkness goes on forever. You start to believe it. Then, a sound. Faint at first. It's not a monster, not a threat. It's a voice, one voice, cutting through the oppressive quiet. It's singing, an old military song. The kind soldiers sing on long marches to keep their spirits up. The notes are a little shaky, but they're clear, and they push back against the darkness. The voice is deep, steady. It echoes up the stairwell, each word a small victory against the silence. It's a sound of defiance. The song is about camaraderie, about pushing forward no matter what, about not leaving anyone behind. And even though you're alone, you don't feel quite so alone anymore. The rhythm of the song gives you a rhythm to walk to, a beat to match your heart to. The first song fades, and for a terrifying moment, the silence threatens to rush back in. But then, the voice starts again. This time, it's a hymn, a simple, beautiful melody that speaks of light and deliverance. The words are familiar, a half-remembered tune from a long time ago. They talk about being lost and then found, about grace and peace. The voice gains strength, the notes resonating in the hollow space, filling it with something other than fear. It's pure and honest. It's not a performance, it's a prayer. It's a declaration that even here, in this suffocating blackness, there is something to hold on to. The sound wraps around you like a warm blanket. You find yourself humming along, the melody, a lifeline in the dark. The fear hasn't vanished completely, but it's no longer a roaring monster. It's been quieted, pushed back into the corners by the sound of this one man's courage. His voice is a guide, a beacon. You start to move again, not just running from the darkness, but moving toward the sound, toward the hope it represents. Each step feels lighter. The air doesn't seem as heavy. The songs are promised that this stairwell has an end, that the darkness won't last forever. You can't see him. You don't know who he is. But this stranger, singing his heart out in the abyss, is saving you. He keeps singing, song after song. Some are upbeat and marching, others are slow and soulful. Each one is a stone laid on a path, leading out of despair. His breath is steady, his voice unwavering. He's not just singing for himself. You realize he's singing for anyone who can hear. He's sending out a signal, a message of resilience. It's incredible, really, the power of a single voice to transform a place of terror into a space of shared humanity. The fear has given way to a quiet, determined hope. A hope that feels as real and as solid as the concrete steps beneath your feet. The darkness is still there, but now it's filled with music. And where there is music, there can't be complete despair. You keep climbing, following the sound, knowing you'll make it out. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow for more stories. The air outside is thick with the smell of smoke and the sounds of distant sirens. But for a fleeting moment, none of that matters. We've made it. Hundreds of USAs spitting out from the choking darkness of the lower floors, gasping in the cool, clean night air. I watch as families cling to each other. Friends pull one another into tight embraces, and strangers share looks of profound, silent understanding. We survived. My eyes scanned the crowd, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. I start counting, a desperate, automatic, reflexed. 1, 2, 3. The numbers climb. 10, 50, 100. Each face is a victory. A life pulled back from the brink. The sheer volume of people who escaped is staggering. A wave of relief, so powerful it almost buckles my knees. Was eso verme. For a second, the knot of fear in my stomach loosens. Just a little. I see Rick standing near the edge of the police cordon, his face illuminated by the flashing red and blue lights. He's counting too, his finger methodically pointing at each survivor, his lips moving silently. I can see the same relief mirrored on his face, a deep, exhausted gratitude. He catches my eye from across the crowd and gives a slight nod. The message is clear. We did good. We got him out. But then, his expression shifts. The relief is replaced by a familiar, heavy shadow. His gaze lifts back towards the building, a towering silhouette against the dark sky, with angry orange light still flickering in the upper windows. The thought hits me with the force of a physical blow. We got so many asterisks out. But not everyone. Not yet. The celebration around me suddenly feels premature. The relieved sobs and joyful cries now sound fragile, incomplete. Every person safe out here is a testament to our fight, but every person still trapped inside is a reason to keep fighting. Rick knows it. I know it. This isn't the end. It's just a brief pause in the chaos. He turns back to me, his jaw set with grim determination. The look in his eyes is one I've come to know all too well. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most powerful moments in recent cinema. A scene that had audiences holding their breath and left a lasting impact long after the credits rolled. I'm talking, of course, about the final call. Let's set the stage. The city is crumbling. Chaos reigns supreme. And the mission, for all intents and purposes, is over. Our protagonist, Rick, has done the impossible, navigating through hell and back to get his team to the extraction point. He's battered, bruised, but alive. The objective is complete. All he has to do is get on that chopper and fly away into the sunset. A hero who survived against all odds. We, the audience, feel that sense of relief. Me italiano. The tension that has been building for the last 2 hours is finally starting to release. Then, the radio crackles to life. It's a voice we've come to trust. The voice of command, of safety. Rick, you're clear to evacuate now. It's the permission he's been waiting for. The green light to go home. The words are simple, direct, and filled with the promise of survival. And for a moment, Rick just pauses. The camera holds on his face, and in that silence, we see a universe of conflict. We see the exhaustion, the pain, the memory of everything he's just witnessed. We see the faces of his fallen comrades, and the sheer weight of his journey. You can almost hear his heart pounding, feel the dirt and grime on his skin. This single moment of stillness is absolutely masterful filmmaking. It's not just a pause for dramatic effect. It's a window into his soul. He's weighing his life against something more, something intangible. And then, he breaks the silence. His voice isn't loud or defiant. It's calm, measured, and filled with a certainty that sends shivers down your spine. I'm going back. Just 3 words. But they change everything. Command on the other end is stunned. We're stunned. Why? Why would he do that? He's earned his escape. But Rick provides the answer. And it's an answer that defines his entire character arc. He says, "Not everyone is out yet." And in that line, we understand this was never just a mission for him. It wasn't about following orders or just surviving. It was about people. It was about the fundamental belief that no one gets left behind. While the others saw the mission as complete, Rick saw the people who were still trapped, the ones without a voice on the radio, the forgotten civilians caught in the crossfire. His mission wasn't over until theirs was. This scene is so brilliant because it subverts our expectations of a typical action hero. The real victory for Rick isn't escaping the battle. It's upholding his own moral code in the face of overwhelming pressure to save himself. He's not choosing to go back because he's a reckless daredevil or has a death wish. He's going back because his conscience, his very identity, demands it. He is a protector, and his duty doesn't end when the evacuation order comes. It ends when everyone is safe. This decision transforms him from a soldier following orders into a true hero, a symbol of selfless humanity. It is a choice that redefines the entire narrative from a story of survival to a story of sacrifice. It's a powerful statement about what it truly means to be heroic. It's not about winning the fight, but about fighting for what's right, even when you're the only one left fighting. The sound design in this scene is also incredible. The chaos of the city fades just enough for us to focus on the static of the radio and the raw emotion in Rick's voice. The decision feels intensely personal and isolated, even with the voice of command on the other end. It's a lonely choice, made by one man against the logic of an entire military operation. This moment is the heart of the film. It's the ultimate test of character, and Rick passes it. Not by escaping, but by turning back towards the danger. It's a scene that sticks with you, making you question what you would do in that situation. Would you take the chopper out, or would you go back? It's a testament to great writing and a phenomenal performance. What did you think of this scene? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next breakdown. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're diving deep into a scene that has haunted me, and probably many of you, for a long time. It's scene 9, the one simply titled, The Last Walk. Just those 3 words carry so much weight. The setting is grim. The upper floors, filled with smoke and fire. And the action is deceptively simple. Rick turns and walks back up the stairs. Smoke surrounds him. His footsteps echo, then fade into silence. That's it. That's all the script gives us. But it's an emotional universe packed into a single moment. Let's break this down. Why does this scene hit so hard? It's the finality of it all. Rick isn't running from the danger. He's walking into it. The act of turning back is a conscious choice. He's not being forced. He's not panicking. He's accepted his fate. This isn't a moment of defeat, but one of profound, tragic purpose. The smoke and fire aren't just physical obstacles. They're symbolic. They represent the chaos, the destruction, the hell he's been through. By walking into them, he's confronting everything he's fought against, one last time, on his own terms. Think about the sound design described. His footsteps echo, then fade. The echo suggests a vast, empty space, emphasizing his isolation. He is utterly alone in this final act. The fading silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's the absence of life, the end of a journey. It's the narrative equivalent of a heart monitor flatlining. We don't see the end. We hear it. And that ambiguity is what makes it so powerful. Our minds are left to fill in the blanks, to imagine the unimaginable, and that's often more terrifying and heartbreaking than anything a camera could show us. This scene is a masterclass in subtext. Rick's walk isn't just a physical action. It's the culmination of his entire character arc. Every decision, every loss, every sacrifice has led him to this staircase. It's a silent monologue. Assassins, you can almost feel him thinking about everyone he's lost, everyone he's saved, and the person he's become. He's not just walking up a set of stairs. He's ascending to a different kind of place, leaving the world behind. It's a moment of pure, unadulterated heroism, but it's a quiet heroism. There's no grand speech, no dramatic battle, just a man, a staircase, and a choice. And the title, The Last Walk. It's not the last fight or the last stand. A walk is methodical, deliberate. It implies a journey, not a destination. But here, the journey and the destination are one and the same. The walk, asterisk, is asterisk. The end. It reframes his final moments, not as a violent conclusion, but as a somber pilgrimage. He is walking towards his end with a kind of dignity and resolve that is both inspiring and devastating. It forces us as the audience to confront the idea of sacrifice in its purest form. What does it mean to give everything, willingly, for something greater than yourself? This scene doesn't need dialogue because Rick's actions speak louder than any words ever could. It's a testament to the power of showing, not telling. Ever felt like the world's weight is on your shoulders, like you're just one person against an impossible challenge? Let me tell you a story about a man who faced exactly that, and what he did will change how you see the world. His name was Rick Rescorla, and he was the head of security for Morgan Stanley in the World Trade Center. Now, Rick wasn't your average security chief. He was a decorated war hero, a man who had stared danger in the face in Vietnam and walked away. He understood risk in a way most of us never will, and when he looked at the Twin Towers, he saw a vulnerability that haunted him. Long before 2001, he warned his bosses that the buildings were a target. He knew that a strike at the base could bring the entire structure down. He was so convinced, he even had his friend, a fellow veteran, fly with him in a helicopter to study the towers, to understand their weak points, to plan for the unthinkable. His warnings were mostly ignored. People called him paranoid, overly cautious. The towers are too strong, they said, but Rick didn't back down. He believed that preparing for the worst wasn't paranoia. It was responsibility. He couldn't force them to listen, but he could prepare his people. Against company policy and with no official support, he started running his own emergency drills. He made the employees of Morgan Stanley practice evacuating over and over again. He'd time them with a stopwatch, pushing them to be faster, to be more efficient. They'd grumble and complain. Not another drill, Rick. But he insisted. He taught them to ignore official announcements and to follow his lead the moment they heard his voice. He had a system. He knew the stairwells like the back of his hand. He trained his team to guide people, to keep them calm, to move them out in an orderly fashion. He was preparing them for a day he prayed would never come. Then, on a clear September morning, the unthinkable happened. The first plane hit the North Tower. Instantly, the Port Authority's announcement came over the loudspeakers. Stay at your desks. The building is secure. It was the exact opposite of what needed to be done. But Rick's people had been trained for this moment. They didn't listen to the official order. They listened for Rick. Grabbing his bullhorn, his walkie-talkie, and his cell phone, Rick Rescorla sprang into action. He began a systematic, floor-by-floor evacuation of the South Tower. His voice cut through the rising panic, calm and commanding. He started singing. Over the bullhorn, he sang old military songs and Welsh hymns from his childhood. His steady, powerful voice was a beacon of calm in the chaos. It kept people moving. It kept them from panicking. It kept them focused on his voice and the path to safety. He moved through the crowds, checking on everyone. He'd tell them, today's a day to be proud to be an American. He helped the elderly, encouraged the frightened, and directed his security team with precision. He was everywhere at once, a guardian angel with a bullhorn. He successfully evacuated almost every single one of Morgan Stanley's 2,700 employees from the South Tower. Once the vast majority were out, he got a call from his wife, Susan. He told her, "Stop crying. I have to get these people out. If something happens to me, I want you to know I've never been happier. You made my life." It was the last time they ever spoke. After that call, Rick learned that a few of his executives were still unaccounted for. Without a moment's hesitation, he turned around and went back into the burning, trembling tower to find them. He was last seen on the 10th floor, heading upwards, just before the South Tower collapsed. Rick Rescorla made the ultimate choice. He had gotten nearly everyone out, but his job, in his mind, wasn't done until everyone was safe. In the aftermath, As survivors watched in tears as the tower fell, the scale of his heroism became clear. The man they called Paranoid had saved them all. Rescorla Estrils. His stubborn persistence, his unwavering courage, saved over 2,700 lives that day. Some heroes don't survive to see the lives they saved, but their courage echoes forever. They are never, ever forgotten. If you found this story as moving as I did, please like and subscribe. There are countless stories of courage out there, and we need to remember them. Thank you for watching.